Bienvenidos a nuestro programa de hoy, el 8 de octubre del 2020. Hoy, como parte de la celebración de herencia hispana y nuestro programa educativo Más Fuertes, vamos a cubrir el tema de crédito comercial. So, welcome to the 10/8/2020 Más Fuertes program in honor also of the Hispanic Heritage Month. Today is our English session on understanding commercial credit. If you're looking for the Spanish session, we conducted that on 10/6/2020. La sección en español fue el 10/6 del 2020. So today we're presenting this program in partnership with US Bank. And this program is possible thanks to the generosity of the Greater Milwaukee Foundation. So a little bit about your moderator. Your moderator is Nelson Soler. I am the president of the Latino Chamber of Commerce, one of the founders of the Latino Entrepreneurial Network. I'm a business owner myself and also a faculty member at the local university. The mission of the chamber is to foster the economic development of Wisconsin by advocating, strengthening, and promoting the growth and development of Latino and other minority emerging enterprises, with the goals of providing increased access to capital, business opportunities, and job creation. The mission of the Latino Entrepreneurial Network is to promote awareness and education through bilingual coaching, professional development, and networking. So as a reminder, the Más Fuertes program is happening on Tuesdays in Espanol and on Thursdays in English. The topic today is the basic of commercial lending. Then we will reconvene again on 10/20 to discuss financing a commercial real estate transaction. We're doing this as part of our bilingual recovery program for small business after the pandemic. You're always welcome to call our offices at 414-888-2270 should you require assistance during this pandemic or with any other topic that you would like us to handle. You also can reach out via our website. So the Latino Chamber, SEW.org is a website of the chamber. The Latino Entrepreneurial Network.org is a website of the network. And you can also find a lot of resources for those of you who are looking for coronavirus resources under www.governusa.gov. So today we have a guest of honor. You had heard from him before. His name is Manuel Vallejo. He works for US Bank, and he's gonna first introduce himself. When he introduces himself, we start with the topic. I will continue helping with the presentation. You can see us live. If you're on the live stream right now, make sure that you comment on the live stream and watching the live stream and the questions on my cell phone. So Manuel, if you will introduce yourself and let me know when you're ready for me to start your presentation.
Absolutely. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for being with us today. As Nelson mentioned, my name is Manuel Vallejo. I'm a business banker with US Bank here in the Milwaukee area. Been with US Bank now 11 years, the last 5 years in the capacity of a business banker, working with our business clients specifically. Total of 16 years in the banking industry. Today, we're going to be talking about credit reporting, credit, and how it impacts your business. So if Nelson, if you can get the presentation pulled up, we'll go ahead and get started today. So as I mentioned, we'll be discussing credit reporting, credit, and how it impacts your small business. You can move to the next slide. Now, obviously, we're in a different environment today where we are typically not going to be able to do presentations in person. So while this is a virtual meeting, we would like it to be as interactive as possible. So as Nelson mentioned, if you have any questions on anything that we're discussing, want to hear a little bit more, or if there's a specific question you have, please feel free to enter that in the comment section, and we'll do our best to answer those today on the during the presentation. If not, there'll be a slide at the end of the presentation with my contact information, where you're all welcome to reach out to me individually, and I'll do the best to assist you that I can. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. If you can go to the next slide, please, Nelson. So the objectives of today's call is to explain the concept of credit reporting and the impact of credit reports on the operation or growth of a small business, identify the credit reports and other reporting systems commonly used to assess the risk of extending credit to a small business, explain how these credit reports work, and explain how the personal business of a business owner, or personal finances, of a business owner impact the business's ability to get credit. We can move on. There we go. So the first thing we'll want to do is understand what is a credit report. A credit report is a collection of your previous credit utilization and how you've handled that and made payments in the past. That information's used by banks, lenders, and investors when a business is applying for a loan or line of credit. Landlords when businesses are looking to lease space. Other businesses, and that's typically in a situation where you're trying to establish new vendor relationships. And then government agencies when businesses apply for certain licenses or government contracts. In addition to the collection of previous history, it does contain an analysis of creditworthiness, insurance underwriting, employment, again, some of the licenses you may have already, any continuing credit terms, and help establish some of the business needs. We can go to the next slide, Nelson. So now that we have a little bit of an understanding of what a business report is, who uses it, and for what purposes, what is the information that they're looking at within the credit report? Well, the first thing that they're going to be looking for is the commercial credit risk score. That's the equivalent for a business as what a FICO score would be for an individual. It's a number that's given to assess the risk of a business's willingness or ability to pay their debts back. They're also looking for indicators to predict the potential for business failure. The example that I like to use here is if you are a business who has a current line of credit and for the last 6 months, the balance on that line of credit has been at or near the limit and it hasn't been what we call flex back down to either zero or a significantly lower balance, that leads to the question of why. What lenders like to see with a line of credit is peaks and valleys. So money is drawn against the line of credit when money is going out of your business. So you again you draw on the line of credit to purchase inventory or material. And then typically when the money comes back in, so you sell your product or you receive payment for your service, you pay that line of credit down. If that is not happening, that could be an indicator of a potential problem. They're also reviewing business ownership information. Again, any of the previously mentioned users of a credit report are looking to ensure they're dealing with the right person. They want to make sure when signing any loan contracts, lease agreements, that they're operating or working with somebody who has the authority to act on behalf of the business. They're looking for other businesses owned by the same organization. That's to ensure that any and all businesses that will be required to guarantee any business loans are identified and listed as those guarantors. And then lastly, public records of security interest filings. So they're looking for liens against the business or any of its assets. Now, what type of impact will that information and your credit report have on your business? Well, the data contained inside of the credit report may be used to obtain business credit. It impacts the business's ability to grow. And participation in a strong credit file also may increase your marketability. So we already discussed the information that's reviewed within the credit report. And again, it's a lot of risk assessment. And then the data contained in that showing a lower risk obviously makes it easier to obtain that business credit, which leads directly into that second point of ability to grow business. One of the things I mentioned previously about the line of credit as a potential indicator of a problem, it could also mean or can also be telling us that a business is now starting to grow and take on larger clients, whereas some of those larger, I apologize here. some of those larger jobs may take longer to receive payment back. So it's not that the ability doesn't have the business doesn't have the ability or willingness to grow. It's just simply they've got a larger client that they've ever taken on before. They've had to purchase more material for any one job that they've ever had to pay for. And when working with those bigger businesses, they sometimes are a little slow to pay. So it just takes longer for the cash flow cycle. So again, that may be an instance where you want to extend a line of credit, therefore giving you the ability to grow the business. And then the participation might increase marketability. That again partners with establishing new vendor relationships. Through the Dun & Bradstreet, which we'll cover more shortly, you can not only see a business's payments to large businesses like banks, but you can also see their payment history with other businesses, such as other vendors, previous vendors. So if they can verify that you've paid on time in the past, they're always going to be more likely or willing to do business with you now. So where are these credit reports being obtained from? Credit reports are coming from a consumer reporting agency, and a consumer reporting agency is any person or business that assembles or evaluates credit information on consumers. So who are the three key business reporting agencies? The three major business reporting agencies are Dun & Bradstreet, Experian, and Equifax. Now, Experian and Equifax may be familiar to most people because they also do reporting on personal credit. DNB is the one that may be a little bit more unfamiliar to most folks. That's a private organization that most large financial institutions and again, many other businesses and vendors utilize to obtain information on a business they may be looking to do some sort of joint business with. They can verify payment history, as I mentioned, liens against the business, ownership, annual revenues, things of that nature. So again, that one is something that might be a little new to most folks. But okay, what can we do to establish business credit? First thing you'll want to do is obtain a tax ID number from the Internal Revenue Service and a DUNS and Bradstreet number. Now, with both of those numbers, the tax ID number will be associated for all things to the business. The Dun & Bradstreet will be associated specifically to its credit bureau. Neither one of these cost anything to obtain. Dun & Bradstreet can be received through their website at www.dnb.com. So David, Nancy, Bradley.com. The tax ID number from the IRS can be received from www.irs.gov. IRS numbers typically given immediately. Dun & Bradstreet can take 30 to 60 days, but that's one that I encourage all business owners to set up immediately. And the reason I suggest that is because, as I mentioned, once you have a Dun & Bradstreet number, you can then begin having vendors report, not just banks. Whereas with a bank, credit union, things of that nature, you'll have to submit a credit application, and we'll discuss how that process looks shortly, or what we're looking at, I should say, and how that impacts the business. But a Dun & Bradstreet, it's the easiest way to get credit started is by having vendors report your payment history, and that'll help you establish those more of those credit accounts that you may need. The next thing you want to do is provide your business registration information. So the financial statements and accounts to be included in the reports. So again, if you do have the DNB set up, you can let them know, hey, I have these vendors established and I've made these payments thus far. Establishing credit with vendors, we already touched on that with the DNB. And then the other thing that's really important in establishing business credit is to establish a relationship with your local bank and the business name. I'll throw out there, US Bank's a great bank, but we're not the only one out there. And if there's one that's more convenient in relation to your location or just simply meets your business needs better, it's still of the utmost importance of getting that relationship established, because what that then does is you're working with the partner. The bank will understand the incoming cash, the outgoing cash. They'll be able to see the types of balances that you maintain, and all of those things will give a lender more confidence in being able to lend out the funds that you need versus working with a business where they have no existing relationship. So, essentially I equate that as, a friend needing to borrow money versus a stranger needing to borrow money. There's already, goodwill or credit built there. Anything to add on that, Nelson?
Not at this time. The only thing I gotta encourage you all that are listening is truly important what Manuel said about this DUNS number. Right now, most of the programs where people are applying for grants or loans right now during the pandemic require that you have a DUNS number, and some businesses had lost the deadline, so they haven't been able to apply or take advantage of them by not having them. So I strongly encourage all of you. It's a free process. You go to that website, DMBD, as in David, as he said, BN. I got the website wrong, but we'll get it right before.
DNB, David, Nancy, Brad.
Exactly. You go to that website and it's very easy to create a profile and request a number. So I do encourage you to proceed with that. Thank you, Manuel. That's all I have.
Absolutely. And again, I believe I may have said this before, but since I don't fully recall, it does take about 30 to 60 days to get that number. So again, keep that in mind. And once more, strongly encourage you to do it as soon as you get your business registered, so that you can then begin building that credit as soon as possible. But moving on, we discussed the importance of the business credit on your business, but it's not only the business credit that has an impact. Personal credit has a significant impact on your business as well. How so? Well, building business credit with the personal guarantee. So oftentimes, well, all times when you first register a business and apply for your tax ID number and the Dun & Bradstreet number, you have the information, you have a business, but you have no credit. So how do you establish that? Well, when applying for any new credit without business credit established, the only things a lender will have to rely on is your personal credit. So that will carry the full weight of approval or denial when applying for credit for a new business. And I guess I want to clarify that. It'll help you establish, I don't want to say carry full weight, because if you apply for a large $200,000 equipment loan as a new business, the time in business may have some impact on that, but I will say most heavily is personal credit when there is no business credit established. I will also say on this section here, when applying or looking to initiate business credit, you would want to start off with a business credit card. And I liken that to somebody turning 18 years old. We always recommend a credit card as the easiest and quickest way to begin establishing that credit file. And in a situation like that, again, with no business credit history, it will be heavily dependent on your personal credit. But not only will it affect your ability to establish credit for the business, but it also affects the repayment terms that'll be offered on that business credit. So rates, terms, dollar amount that can be borrowed. And it also, again, impacts the ability to grow business, and in the exact same manner that we discussed with the business credit. If there isn't strong personal credit, you may not be able to establish that line of credit or get the loan to purchase that piece of equipment that will in turn allow you to produce more of your product or produce your product at a more efficient cost. Now that we talked about the importance of the business credit and the personal credit, what can you do to ensure that you have personal credit in a position that when you do need to apply, you're able to be approved? And the first thing we're going to recommend is review your credit report at least once every year for errors. The other thing is pay your loans and other bills on time. Avoid judgments and tax liens. Comparison shop for financial services. That's a big one to me. As I mentioned, US Bank is a terrific bank. We do a lot of things really well. However, it is important for all consumers to shop around for their needs and find their best match. So again, that's a big one. Be an informed consumer, shop around, and make the choice that's going to best serve you and your business. Keep older accounts and pay them off monthly. And on this one, I will again stress that when we say pay them off monthly, we mean the balance in full when possible. That's going to always be the best way to use any type of line of credit. Obviously, something like a large loan for equipment or real estate, the expectation isn't that you pay that in full. But again, with those revolving lines of credits, you always want to do your best to keep your limits as low as possible. In general, lenders like to see that under 30% utilization. So for an example, if you have a $10,000 credit limit, we don't like to see balances being carried over $3,000, again, in general. And then lastly, dispute any errors quickly. And when doing so, you want to be sure to provide documentation to support your claim. Send it directly to the creditor. Request all repositories be updated, and then request a new credit report to verify that all corrections have been made. And I will also state on this slide here, while the headline or the tagline up top says your personal credit, all these things hold true for your business credit as well. It's definitely a good idea to do this on both business and personal credit. All right, the next slide, personal guarantor advantages. So as I mentioned, when establishing credit, we're going to heavily rely on your personal credit to get it started. But even as the business grows, as you have more time in business and you strengthen that business credit file, as an owner of the business, most lenders will still require a personal guarantee for business loans. So not only does your personal credit affect it at the front end, it affects it throughout the life of the business. And some of the advantages to being a personal guarantor on the loan are that, one, it shows the lender that you're supportive of the business, that you believe in your business. We already discussed it may help to establish credit. It may ease startup or cash flow. So that's one of the things we were stating earlier, whereas a new business, you can go apply for a startup loan. I will say that traditional lenders typically like to see 2 years time in business. However, don't let that scare you away from trying to do so, because there are a lot of other options to assist in that, such as the SBA, who this presentation is brought to you today by, and then other nonprofit organizations such as WIBIC, Wisconsin Women's Business Initiative Corporation. It's one of the larger nonprofits that U.S. Bank has partnered with. And I will also say, don't let the title scare you, with it being Wisconsin Women's Business Initiative Corporation. They help business owners from all walks of life, men, women, minority, non-minority. They're here to support the local Wisconsin business owners and assist in that. And then lastly, better loan terms. So again, the stronger the business credit, the stronger the personal credit, the better terms you're going to be offered as far as interest rates and length of repayment. All right, if we can go to the next one, Nelson. Now, some of the disadvantages of being a personal guarantor. You may be required to make payments if the business defaults. So if for whatever reason the business doesn't make a payment, you can expect a call from the lender to you directly asking for payment. You may risk losing personal assets, including your home. If the business doesn't make that payment and we're unable to receive payment from yourself personally after those phone calls, again, that may lead to a foreclosure on the property, repossession of vehicles, things of that nature. Depending on the state that you live in, a spouse may be required to sign if you are married. Us here in Wisconsin, we're a joint marital property state. So although a spouse may not be an owner of the business, they may have to sign off due to that personal guarantee, because now their personal assets may be in jeopardy as well should the business default. And then other implications with partnerships and owners. So the big one here is a lot of lenders will require that anyone who has over X amount percentage of ownership, oftentimes you'll see 20%, 25% will be required to guarantee. And again, while reviewing the credit reports, we're looking at both the business and all individual owners' credit bureaus. And each person must be able to what we call credit qualify individually. So While any one person may not be able to support the loan financially, individually, that's okay, but everybody does have to show the ability and willingness to repay based on that credit report. So if one partner has poor credit and the other two partners have fantastic credit, there's still a high likelihood that that loan would be turned down due to the one partner not having strong enough credit, or the credit that the lender is looking for. I think that's it there. If you want to go to the next slide. So your personal credit as a new business owner is the foundation for building business credit. Benjamin Franklin said in 1748, remember that credit is money, and that statement still holds true today. Next slide, Nelson. Top key points to remember. Know what's on your personal credit and, again, your business credit report by ordering a free credit report. Establish a credit history for your small business, and then again request a copy of your business credit report. It's of the utmost importance that you understand what's going on with your credit, because again, that's very much so a key in growing the business and allowing yourself to achieve the goals that you want to. Excuse me. So in conclusion, you learned about the purpose for credit reporting and different types, the difference between business and consumer credit reports, agencies and reporting. You learned about the benefits, risk, and responsibilities of credit reporting, the effect personal credit can have on your business, and how to be a better applicant and improve your own credit. So again, hopefully the information that we brought today was valuable. Again, this is my contact information here. I will let everybody know that with COVID, we are working from home the majority of the time. So the best way to contact me with any questions, comments, concerns on anything that we discussed today, or really any other questions you may have as a business owner, would be my mobile phone or my email address. So again, if there's any immediate questions, Nelson, in the comments section, let me know, and I'd be happy to address those. Again, answer them best I can. If not, whomever is out there viewing, feel free to reach out to me directly.
We don't have any questions for this session. However, you're free to put comments on the live feed and the video that will be videotaped, and we'll be happy to get back to you with your questions on commercial credit. So today was a very important session because we covered how important your personal and business credits are you for your success in your business, what are the interrelationships, and how you can start taking meaningful steps to start building that credit. So we thank Manuel for being here with us in another session. Tomorrow, the Chamber will have another live session as part of the Hispanic Heritage Month, and we will cover the Latino and Latina leadership perspective from the corporate world. So we had already seen it from the entrepreneurial world, nonprofit, and government. So now our final session is from the corporate world. So we hope to see you tomorrow at noon. In the meantime, stay safe and healthy. We thank Manuel again for joining us today, and US Bank for partnering with us, and the Greater Milwaukee Foundation for sponsoring Más Fuertes. Enjoy the rest of the afternoon.